our central bank has been printing money to inflate prices. The solution is, of course, to fire the gatekeepers. I've already announced that I will fire the governor of the central bank to get inflation under control.
The fact that one of the leading candidates for the Conservative Party of Canada, the leader of the opposition, seems to profoundly either misunderstand that or not care about the facts at all is somewhat disappointing.
Pierre Poilievre's comment there to fire the Bank of Canada governor, drawing some criticism from the Prime Minister, amongst others. Former Bank of Canada Governor David Dodge has also condemned Poilievre's comments. Well, Bill Robson is the president and CEO of the C.D. Howe Institute. He is in Ottawa. We wanted to get his take on all this. Bill Robson, I want to start by asking you, I don't know how many people in my life could name the governor of the Bank of Canada. So why do you think that this discussion matters?
Well, for a long time, people wouldn't have been able to tell you who the governor of the Bank of Canada was because inflation was low and stable, and we had our minds on other things, and that's exactly how you want life to be. The reason that it's an issue now, as it was an issue back in the 1970s and for a lot of the 1980s, is because inflation is high and people really dislike inflation. And it's regrettable that this has become personal the way that it has. I suppose it's inevitable. We kind of live in populist times. But to me, the solution to the problem really, the Bank of Canada has let inflation get out of control. And the best thing for it to do to defend itself, defend the governor, is to get inflation back down.
Okay, I want to get into the Bank of Canada response in a moment, but let's just stay with what it is that Mr. Poilievre is saying. So he made those proposals. He was criticized during the debate. He was criticized by the Prime Minister. Today, he has put out a new video on Twitter where he seems to be reveling in the fact that he is being criticized. He's saying to people who support him, like, I'm driving those elites in Ottawa crazy. Let's listen to a little bit more of what his response has been to the response. A clip of that.
You know what bothers me most about these elites who say that powerful people can never be fired is that these same elites would have no problem firing the waitress, the welder, the barber, or any other working class person who messed up on the job.
What do you say to that?
Well, populist politics is a bit like that. And it's, as I said, I think already, it's regrettable that it gets personalized in this way. But it would be a mistake to dismiss the unhappiness of people about inflation. We didn't have it for a long time and we're not used to it, but inflation upsets people on a very fundamental level. Nobody likes the rising prices. People who are on a low budget and are not seeing their paychecks keep up with inflation, which is just about everybody nowadays, dislike it doubly because every day you're seeing the cost of the things that you need going up, and it's clearly out of your control. There's nothing you can do about the fact that the Canadian dollar in your wallet is losing value. So the thing that I really want to underline here is that the problem is that inflation is high, and we need to get it down because this is not going to stop if we don't.
Well, listen, I really want to dig in there because now I've heard you say that it's regrettable that this has gotten personal. What I do not hear you saying is that Pierre Poilievre is wrong or that he shouldn't be saying these things. So you think, because there's been quite a debate amongst that, about that amongst, let's call them experts. Do you think that the comments are offside or this is fair criticism?
I think that it is fair criticism to blame the Bank of Canada for the fact that inflation is high.
To say that the governor should be fired, is that fair?
Well, I wouldn't do that. No, I would not fire the governor of the Bank of Canada.
Why?
My position on this is that he should be allowed to get on with the job. It's important to remember that Tiff Macklem, I mean, if we are personalizing this, when he came in, the Bank of Canada already had the interest rate down at its emergency low level. They were already buying bonds at a very rapid rate. I think that both of those things went on too long, but he wasn't alone. I mean, the Bank of Canada wasn't alone in making that mistake. We have high inflation inflation in many other countries, including right south of the border, where the Fed allowed inflation to get out of control. The Fed Chairman Powell just got reconfirmed. It was actually quite a strong bipartisan vote. And so in their wisdom or lack of it, but I'd say it was the right call. They've left the chairman of the Fed in position to fix the problem that he created. And that's what I would be letting Tiff do.
Okay, well, listen, it looks like Pierre Poilievre is the front runner in this race. His whole pitch is it's Pierre for Prime Minister, right? That's what we see on all his ads and whatnot. You say it's not what you would do. You don't think he should be fired. Is it responsible for the person who wants to be Prime Minister of Canada to say this is the governor's fault and he should be fired? Do you have any concerns about the person who wants to be Prime Minister saying that?
I do have concerns about the attack on elites in this way. There's a real kind of denigration of expertise that you often hear. On the other hand, and I'll just slide this in, it's important to remember that the people in Ottawa who he's attacking all have indexed pensions. Their jobs were not at risk during the pandemic. They got regular raises. So he's tapping into something serious here. I do not think it makes sense to be attacking Tiff Macklem. In fact, what I would like to see happen, Tiff's term as governor runs for 7 years. He's going to be there for a few years yet. I'd like to see him stick around, fix the problem, and maybe even get renewed, or if his term comes to its natural end, congratulated on having fixed the problem. So no, I don't think it's appropriate to attack him this way, and I don't think it's been really thought through. How do you do that? There are reasons why we have the central bank governor in place for a term of 7 years, and it's to insulate the central bank governor from politics. Having said all that, there's nothing wrong with calling the bank out for having made inflation this high. They do need to fix it, and it's not surprising that the heat is up right now.
What about how the bank should respond to this? Like, I absolutely take your point, address the economic situation, but in terms of the political attack, best for the bank or Tiff Macklem to say nothing? Ought they to be defending themselves? What should that look like?
I think that the actions will speak louder than words. When you start to defend yourself too vociferously, you can get defensive and it can start to sound like you're claiming that you didn't make a mistake. I think it's much better for them to have admitted, as they have been doing, that they made a mistake. And in terms of what they should do, where this inflation came from, there were two things. They kept the interest rate so low for so long, and they bought all these government bonds, and with the governments running fiscal deficits, and this happened in the United States and other countries as well, so it's not unique to Canada. But what happened is we had this big surge of spending, and now there's too much money chasing too few goods and services, the classic thing that causes inflation. The first thing I would do if I were the Bank of Canada is start reducing those bond holdings, because one of the charges that Pierre Poilievre is making that really kind of sticks is that the bank was acting like an ATM for the government, just buying all these bonds. So if you want to prove that that charge doesn't stick, put it into reverse, start selling those bonds. And then everybody who knows anything about monetary policy is going to say, no, that's not what they're doing.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to leave the discussion there, but we appreciate your insight today. Thank you very much. Bill Robson, President and CEO of the C.D. Howe Institute.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.